Welcome to the Strong Casuals. This is Anthony speaking. Today I'm joined on a Friday with my good friend, Jeremiah.
Hi, I am Jeremiah.
Thanks for joining us, Maya. Ben popped in for an early episode this week by himself, so I figure I wasn't available, so I pop in and get an extra one in. Why not? So
Gotcha. And you did definitely just say Maya, which not everyone knows. So
yeah,
that's fine. I'm fine with it.
no, that's okay. Yeah, Maya, Jeremiah.
They both work.
This
when,
is him.
When Anthony says Maya,
Yeah.
he actually means Jeremiah.
I do. But yeah, so here we are. We're going to do a one-off episode today. There's nothing really going on in the world of arm wrestling or sumo wrestling, sumo wrestling is what we're talking about today. Arm wrestling or strongman, not a lot going on. I'm going to save all of my arm wrestling conversation for Ben because I really want to talk about the Contender Series that happened over the weekend.
If I want to talk about arm wrestling, you're just going to
I'm not going to talk with you about it, all right? I'll
Yeah,
absolutely
okay.
just shut you down.
Fair.
Because that's the reality of the situation, all right? I don't want to talk to some guy about it, all right? I want to talk to the other strong casual.
Fair.
No, but no, sumo. Today we're going to be talking about sumo wrestling, the sport, the strength sport of sumo wrestling. It doesn't get covered a lot in America because it's just not very prevalent at all in America. If you're wrestling on a professional level, you're always going to be wrestling overseas as it is. I'm assuming there's stateside competitions, of course, because I know there's stateside dojos and stuff that people train in. So, but if on a professional level, it's all in Japan, all of it. So just sumo wrestling in general. Maya, what do you know in your past? What do you have any idea about sumo wrestling at all?
Basically zero. So I mean, I know pop culture references. And
Right, give me some of those pop culture references.
I guess just in any sort of movie where they're representing, a sumo wrestler, you're gonna get like the shot of the guy who goes into the circle and then he does the big thing where his leg lifts up and then he stomps and he does like a big noise.
Yes.
With his mouth and
Very
lungs.
exciting.
Yeah.
Yes. No. Yeah.
So that's like I guess a powerful image. I don't know how true it is to the actual
Right.
sport, but that's what comes to mind.
No. Absolutely.
And like just big Japanese men in diapers.
Yeah, big Japanese men in diapers is pretty much what the majority of the people know. I also think that like a huge, if you don't see a sumo wrestler in a movie, almost everybody in the world has played Street Fighter. E Honda is a vital character in the game of Street Fighter. E Honda being a sumo wrestler, the guy out of Japan when you would, in the original Street Fighter have you played Street Fighter, the original Street Fighter?
You said almost everyone.
Are you one of the?
I mean,
almost.
So I've never played it with other people.
Okay.
I've like played it like
At the arcade or
yeah.
Yeah, like Street Fighter 1, like
Yeah.
like they'll in Street Fighter 1 they basically just take you on a tour of the world to face everybody. So you then fly to Japan and you fight E Honda.
Yeah.
Now, you don't always find sumo wrestlers in like steam rooms like you did fight E Honda in the steam room. They are in steam rooms just like any other human being usually. All right? You will find them steaming. But that's not actually where you fight sumo wrestlers.
That's not their natural
Yeah,
habitat.
it's not like where they hang
So when
out.
they're not wrestling, they're always in a steam room.
Yeah. When I'm not wrestling, I'm always in the steam room.
Are we in a steam room right now?
It's about to get steamy. If we keep this conversation going, it's going to get steamy enough. But we're not wrestling in the steam room over here, and we're only doing it in Street Fighter. E Honda basically had like the one cool move, and then if you had a Mad Catz controller or like the turbo controllers that they had back in the day for like Sega Genesis, you just throw that turbo on and you just
I'm sure
never
this is all
stop.
like super relevant to the actual sport.
Yeah, this is sumo wrestling.
Yeah,
Sumo wrestling is
having 1,000 hands.
having the infinite blurry
controller.
hand speed of this, and you can it's about palm strikes, but really that's the only thing that E Honda had anything to do with.
Okay, so if you're
sumo
tuning
wrestling.
in right now,
Yeah.
and you know nothing about sumo wrestling, you know that there's at least 2 or 3 like 13, 14-year-old kids behind every sumo wrestler with a Mad Catz controller with the turbo on it.
Yes.
All right, cool.
If the sumo wrestler is winning and he's showing blinding speed, clearly there's something Matrix behind the scenes going on, and
Gotcha.
it's not healthy. So E Honda, the only thing that he had to do with sumo wrestling is that he like had like the garb of a sumo wrestler, and he had a top knot. So sumo wrestling is pretty much a straightforward sport. Everybody knows the ring, right? So it's like there's two parts to an actual the space that a sumo wrestler will wrestle in. There's the actual ring is made of like, I don't know, it's made of like rope, and then is the actual thing they're standing on is just a giant block of clay. Now I don't know how they manufacture this block of clay. I'm sure there's very specific people that put together this giant block of clay, and then they put the rope around it, and then they sprinkle, I don't know, some salt or something in the middle of the ring, and then the goal is to push somebody out. It's as simple as that.
So I guess you say that you're not sure how they make it, but they have a rope and they have salt. I guess my question is that like tradition? Is that
yeah? So, and that's the other thing about what I've noticed. So in the Americas, where you can see sumo wrestling, I just as a child you see it randomly, like we said, via pop culture, stuff like that. But now it's just I enjoy sumo wrestling, the concept, the sport of sumo wrestling. And then the way algorithms work is so fantastic. So basically just me saying sumo wrestling out loud in front of my YouTube, basically, they like threw it into my algorithm.
Just how Al Gore wanted it.
Yeah. Yeah. And we all know Al Gore created YouTube. Let's get that straight.
Yeah.
The algorithm.
Exactly.
That's how it is. Dude, he must get some sort of royalties for that, obviously. He's got it. So it showed up in my YouTube one day. So a tournament for sumo wrestling is called a basho or a han basho. So you'll hear if anybody's talking about an event, it's called they say basho. Just speak of that as the tournament. That is the tournament. It's called a basho, and they're every 2 months. There's one every 2 months for like I believe the first half of the year. And the only tournaments the only people that actually matter that you get to see in the tournaments are the highest division. The sumo wrestling is broken into, what's to say? There's like 6 divisions, and then each sumo wrestler can be ranked within 10 ranks within each division. This is like the hardest thing that I had to like break down.
I mean, you gave me the material to look through,
it's
and
very.
A lot of my questions had to deal with this sumo pyramid of hierarchy.
It is. It really is. It's the food table of sumo wrestling is basically how they rank. So it is a pyramid scheme basically, and the highest rank it is the highest rank is on the very top.
Gotcha.
So Yokozuna would be your highest rank, and that's I think another pop culture reference real quick.
Yeah, I've heard that somewhere.
Yokozuna was a wrestler, a professional wrestler in the WCW. Back in the early 90s, or late 90s, early 2000s, and early 90s as well. He was in a video game that I had called WrestleMania for the Sega Genesis, so that's how I heard about him. And he's dressed up. He has what they call the mawashi, so a diaper for a sumo wrestler that's called the mawashi.
Okay, so the mawashi is the diaper.
Is the diaper.
Is it like both the belt and the thong?
It's one giant wrap.
So it's one giant wrap.
It's one giant wrap, and you see him wrap it. I'm like,
Is there anything under there?
I don't think so.
They're sumo junk.
Yeah, they're sumo junk, really. Yeah, I mean, I couldn't have said it better. That's exactly what's under that mawashi is sumo-sized balls. And so under the mawashi...
If I know anything about performative sports, is that they tape that shit up.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, or have some sort of protection.
I didn't look this up. I didn't look this specific part up, but I know that I heard about this. This is folklore, but I believe it is true. I'm sure it has something to do with Kegels, but I remember knowing about sumo wrestlers would practice pulling their gonads inside of their bodies. You can do that. It's basically a Kegel.
Yeah.
As somebody who has kidney stones,
doing it right now.
Yeah, you can do a Kegel as a man, and you can kind of feel your sumo junk go up inside a little bit. Like your balls will just, they'll just raise up a little bit.
Raising up and then.
Yeah, exactly. That's when it comes back out. Okay, that's the sound it makes when it pops back out. So apparently these sumo wrestlers, they specifically do a thing where they train themselves nonstop, I think, to just bring them all up inside. So whether you're getting there's very few rules. Real quick, let me go over these rules because the junk is very specific. So yeah, you lose when any part of your body other than the bottoms of your feet hit the actual hit the doyo. The doyo would be that the clay block is what it's called.
Okay.
So if any part of your body besides the bottom of your feet hit the doyo, you're out. Or if you're pushed outside of that straw
So
ring.
like rolling an ankle would be considered
Absolutely.
as okay.
Yeah, absolutely. The whole match between each sumo is literally just it's all leverage, it's all posturing, it's all momentum and balance, and the balance these guys show is truly insane. I'm constantly just watching matches where it's like one guy will come at them with the fury of 1,000 eagles and will just get stopped, and usually the match doesn't go. Matches probably average 60 seconds, maybe a minute and a half at the
That
very
sounds like
longest.
a long time.
It is a long time, especially with what they're doing, and the circle's not big.
Yeah, and they are.
And they're huge. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And especially most of these people at the professional. I didn't get into the actual weight divisions. Because I know there's different weight divisions. I think it literally is. I'm assuming it's kilogram style, but everybody at the
Ooh, we don't deal with kilograms.
Oh
here.
yeah, we're Freedom Unit podcast. We are a Freedom Unit podcast, and I want to put that out there right now. Now, sumo wrestling they don't even believe in freedom units, and I understand that also. So it's kilograms for now, but I'm sure everybody at the top level they're all heavy dudes. There's some small dudes.
Weight classes aren't necessarily
Right, it's not like it's like you probably just have to. All of them are over. I think somebody needs to do a conversion. I think over 120 kilo, which it sounds about right. It's
that means something to someone.
Yeah, that could be 15,000 pounds. I really don't know. It's
They could be absolutely gaunt, and you did the conversion wrong, or they could be. I think we have a man on this right now trying to do some calculations.
Our mathematicians on it, but yeah. Okay. So, what is 100 and
120 kilograms is 264.
Yeah. So exactly. I think that's probably accurate as heck. It's around everybody's at least 264 pounds in this. The Makuchi division, these ranks. So let me quick.
So the Makuchi is the ones that you'll actually see.
Yes. So any of these tournaments that they have on YouTube. So like I said, they were every 2 months. There's a basho. A basho will last 15 days, and you'll face one guy every day. Now, the lower divisions will do they'll only wrestle 7 of the 15 days, and they only wrestle dudes that are the exact same record for that tournament.
Okay.
So if a dude's 2 and 3, he's going to face another lower division dude who's 2 and 3.
So 15 days, is that significant in anything?
I'm not sure.
Just kind of
That's the other thing.
What they landed on.
Yeah, they just landed on 50 days. I'm sure there's something to it because a lot of the nice thing about the YouTube algorithm and the content that I believe it's YHK Sumo Japan is the YouTube channel, and they remove these videos, so that's why I can't. NHK, I apologize. NHK World Japan. They're the ones who are going to post tournaments. And now they only post these tournaments during the tournament. So they'll show day 1 of 15 highlights, and they will show all 15 matches of all 15 Makuchi, and it's perfect. It's like a 25.
They'll host these what?
What did I say?
Hanbasho.
Hanbashos.
There you go.
Bashos. Yeah, so the basho, the whole tournament is 15 days. So the basho is 15 days. Each day, everybody, they'll show 15 sumo wrestlers, or rikishi is another word for them.
Okay.
They just face each other one day after the other. So it's always...
so 15 days, 15
matches. Everybody has 15 matches for these tournaments.
Except for the scrubs.
Except for the scrubs, a.k.a. known as... Let's go through these quick. So there's 550 rikishi in, like, professional sumo wrestling. It's limited to 550 from what it sounds like. I'm sure it's, subject to change all the time.
So that's like the recognized people in these tournaments that are going to be trying to go for the top spot at some point in their career.
Right, exactly. Yeah. So
I'm assuming there's some sort of flux for
and
people retiring and new ones coming in.
There can't be 550 all the time. It doesn't make, nothing's that consistent in life, period. So I would assume it's specific because they just try to know the average amount of guys within each rank, I'm assuming is how they go by it. So we'll go through each sumo level and rank. So the divisions, I'll just go through the divisions first. So the Makuchi is it's the top 42 sumo wrestlers or rikishi in the sport. And these guys are also called Sekitori as well. So the Sekitori is two divisions. That includes the Makuchi top division and the Juryo, which is the division right below that. Both of these guys, you can tell they're Sekitori by having all their mawashis are colorful. They don't have just like a plain mawashi. They'll have like some whatever color they want, I would assume. I don't know, who's responsible for that. But that's also when you get your top knot. When you become of a higher division, then you can put your hair up.
So you're watching a higher up fight because they A, have a top knot, and B, have a colorful diaper.
Yeah, at the very least, you'll know these guys are of the top rank.
Gotcha.
They may not be the best guy there, but it's a serious match regardless.
Right.
Because you'll see a lot of these guys, with their hair down and just up and coming guys. I'm talking about specifically a guy who just won day 15 of the sumo tournament, won the whole May tournament. He went 12-3. His name is, what is his name? Onosato. So he's a komosubi. No. He is a komosubi. But he's like a lower rank, but he won the last tournament because he just, he showed up.
Cool.
So yeah, these divisions, Makuchi, Juryo, those are the colorful mawashis and the top knots. The Makushita are next. And then these are like, what is it? It's 120 rikishi fighting to get into the Sekitori. It's the division right before that. So these are like, you can come in at Makushita if you want. Basically, every kid, if you start sumo wrestling, you are a Jonokuchi. That is the lowest rank that you can be. You'll start there sometime. If you want to be in sumo, you'll start at like 16 years old, and you'll kind of just practice through 16, through college, and then just keep ranking up.
Gotcha.
The only way you can rank up is if you're winning the majority of your bouts at every single tournament that comes up. That's the only way you can rank up. It has to be by the sanctioned matches during the bashos, during each tournament, which is only 6 times.
So I guess just to take it back a step.
Yeah, of course.
So when you say they win their tournament, so the Onosato, or was it Sato? Or
Onosato, yeah.
Onosato, he won his...
so he won the May
basho.
Tournament. Yeah, he
Does
won
that
the May
mean
basho.
he had more wins? So out of 15, he had more wins than the guy below him?
Yes. So,
okay.
Yeah, so for example, let me just go through quick, like the May Tournament. So Onosato won the tournament. He's the Makuchi division leader right now. He went 12-3 out of the 15 days. Now, real quick, so he's a komosubi. Let me just those are all I was just talking about divisions. That's why it's so confusing, because there's divisions and ranks.
Gotcha.
So we're talking about Yokozuna. That is a rank. So Yokozuna is the top rank. Now, Yokozunas are rare. Super rare, actually. There's been 69 rikishi ever to have been a Yokozuna. To become a Yokozuna, you have to win 2 consecutive tournaments.
Gotcha.
Win the majority of your matches for each tournament. So Onosato, if he won next, I think
2 months from
his
last win.
Yeah, I believe there's no June tournament, or it would have already happened. I don't know. It might be done for the year.
I think it's July.
Is there a July tournament coming up? So if he wins the July tournament, now this is the thing. Yokozuna, top guy, top rank. There's one Yokozuna right now. His name is Terano Fuji. Terano Fuji, these last 2 tournaments, has pulled out because he's had like back pain. Now, I'm not sure how, as Yokozuna, if you can even go down a rank. Because I'm assuming once you become that rank, you're that rank forever.
Is like a title rather than like
exactly.
an actual standing at the current standing.
Exactly. That's what it seems like, because it just doesn't seem like, at least for Yokozuna, I feel like some of these, the guy underneath Yokozuna, the rank underneath, there's Ozekis. So as Zekis, there's like usually 4 or 5 during each tournament usually. So, and then underneath that, Sekawake, and then Komosubi, which is what Onosato is. So he's like the 4th ranked down in rank.
Gotcha.
But he beat a bunch of Ozekis. He's beaten the Yokozuna because the Yokozuna Terano Fuji has been injured.
And that's one of the, like, if you're scheduled for a bout,
Yeah.
and you don't show up, that's like a bye for you effectively.
No, I think he forfeits
he?
out of the tournament. So like a lot of these, if you watch these matches, like they get, the doyo, that block of clay is like, I don't know exactly how far off the ground it is, but it's like a foot and a half off the ground. So think about like these 260 to 350 pound guys.
Put in meters.
It's like, I don't know, like 455 meters or something like that. I'm not good at conversions. Something like that.
Hectares.
Yeah.
That would
It's like 4 parterres.
like
I don't know.
The first part of every match is every sumo wrestler has to like climb this giant mound of clay.
Yeah, exactly. It literally is that. There's like steps that they made. So that's why they have
Yeah.
steps on each side. And the other thing about sumo is like all the YouTube stuff is just dulled down into that 25 minutes. But sumo was really about tradition. Like there's like so much tradition and like opening ceremony and like there's a crazy amount of ceremony that starts before each day. I'm sure it's like probably 2.5 to 3 hours of actual ceremony, traditional stuff that's going on before the actual events. And then the events are it seems like they're very quick. I would die to be at one of these events. I'd be like the one guy there. What's going on? But they're packed.
Make it good. I get to die after
Make
this.
it good. I came from
Show
America.
up for the ceremonial.
Oh yeah, it seems. I mean, these people, they've got it. I'm assuming they do. These events are sold out like every time for
Gotcha.
every single day, like months before the events. It seems like.
So
I mean, it's
I
obviously the
guess
national
there's
sport.
probably some sort of like budding of culture. Like you have this mass-produced, like televised event, where you've got roughly 60 seconds worth of entertainment that
Exactly.
a lot of people show up for. But then you have, so we would be the strong casuals in that, and they would be the. I don't know, the elite casuals. I don't know.
elite-
They're not
Yeah,
casuals. They're
like
there
super
for
casuals. Yeah.
yeah, they're there for the actual like event, the meaning behind the event.
Exactly. Well, that's the thing.
I think in your notes you mentioned something about Shinto.
Yeah.
So it's like an actual like kind of ceremony.
Yeah, it really is a ceremony, and it's like, and I think that's probably why, the events don't translate as perfectly over here. Like,
So you're saying in the Midwest, here in Wisconsin, we don't have like a good framework to understand a Shinto ceremony before a wrestling event?
yeah, let's just say.
I feel like you're gatekeeping a little bit there.
Let me just say, Billy the Kid wasn't sumo wrestling. Okay, he was not. That's not what was going on over here. It'd be way cooler if they were doing that. If people were meeting at high noon. And then just pushing each other out of a ring, and then you leave town.
Right, yeah.
Like, this guy's out of here.
I'll meet you at the clay circle at high noon.
Yeah.
But before that,
There's no proper
we're going
loss.
to wake up at 4 a.m.
There's no death. It's just more sadness and despair, and he's walking away at high noon. It'd be way better. And there's no gunslinging going on over in Japan. It's just like 2,000 years. They say it's like they kind of trace it back to 2,000 years ago is when sumo apparently started, but it hasn't really, I guess, flourished since the 1600s. I'm like, well, you don't
Equally
have to
as
tell
long
me.
as America had to build up its culture. Equally as long.
It is true. It is true. Equally, I mean, almost the exact same time that we stole all the land from America and then gave it to ourselves. That's when they were doing sumo back then. So, yeah, it's like there's just so much tradition that goes into the event, and then America has none of those roots to the tradition. So it's like, welcome to Dane County sumo wrestling. You're like, well, this
I mean,
ain't.
yeah, like that's
know,
why
it's not.
we're here, like talking about something that's so detached from our culture.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
It's like welcome
that's
to the
why-
strong casuals, where Anthony, a guy who talks about arm wrestling and strongman sports, mansplains.
Mansplaining. Well, that's the nice thing. That's why I'm even telling people about sumo, because it's like,
Yeah, no,
there's nobody here who is listening who's into the tradition of sumo, and I think they should be. I think that's why I'm a strong casual for a lot of things. It's just like I'm super into people who are super into what they do.
Well, I didn't realize how much of it was like in tradition and stuff like that, and how much of it was like almost a performative ceremony for like the Shinto gods and whatnot. I thought that's cool.
Yeah, it's
and that honestly makes it more interesting to me than it just being wrestling.
right.
You know?
Yeah, just wrestling for. Well, and that's and then it has all that tradition being so important. I'm pretty positive that it's the national sport of Japan. I could be completely lying because I am a liar.
It's baseball.
That's the
I don't.
everybody says.
I mean, they do like baseball.
They crush at baseball. They say
Yeah.
it's the Japanese pastime.
Yeah.
They do say that, but I think
They turned baseball like a very boring sport into like the most anime version of baseball that it could be. And
anime
it's
baseball is
awesome.
the only baseball in my mind.
Yeah.
It is interesting having being a professional athlete, you're dedicating your life to it, but you're also dedicating your life to, traditional, cultural traditions.
Yeah.
I mean, professional athletes in America,
It's like
no, we're getting rich.
Like,
yeah, no,
you're not just an athlete. You're like kind of almost like a figurehead for
Yes.
a ceremony that people put a lot
Yeah.
of stake into.
yeah, and then when you become Yokozuna or you become even Ozeki or Komosubi, any of those top ranks like that. I mean, you're like a Yokozuna. Like I said, there's only been 69 in the history of sumo wrestling to do that.
Nice.
Yeah. And that better be the last one. There's only gonna be 69 left,
And-
as far as
well,
I'm concerned.
Until we get to
The next stop, yeah, is obviously
This,
and then the sport ends.
and then it ceases to be, and that's fine, and that's okay. But we can still watch old stuff because we have YouTube with Japanese tradition videos. So that's why we're here to watch sumo wrestling. But once you're Yokozuna, you're basically God in Japan. And they'll like, I forget, there's a guy who basically, when you become like a certain rank, you get like a dude who's like a lower rank in your stable. Like,
Wait,
your stable.
you can't just throw out
You don't
stable
just, a stable.
and not clarify it.
Okay, so if you're
Man.
also into professional wrestling, you will know that a stable is just straight up a group of people. So a stable
so
would be
it's not just like a
No.
place where the Rikishi lay in hay and sleep.
no,
And
even
eat
though that
oats.
sounds incredible.
like a protege or like a.
Yeah, well, no, so the stable is literally the dojo, like it's not a dojo. It's called, what the heck? I have the word for it. Sumo terms. It's literally, I think it's called a stable, but they had a word for it. I forget what it was, but that is literally the stable that they stay in. It's the team. That's that's your sumo team.
So it's like just a group of guys
Yeah, it's exactly.
just doing cool things.
Yeah, but in Japan, because it's such a big deal, you go live there, basically.
Gotcha.
So, you can come and go, I'm assuming at certain times, but you basically live there. A show that I think everybody needs to watch, which also got me back into sumo wrestling. It actually came out last year, I believe. It's on Netflix. It's called Sanctuary.
Okay.
And it's a Japanese drama about sumo wrestling. And it's incredible. Like, I was obsessed with it. They have not given it a second season yet, but I promise everybody should watch this. If you don't have a problem with any foreign movies or TV shows, I highly, highly recommend watching Sanctuary.
In Japanese and stuff.
Yeah.
Man, I love watching.
It's the
things,
best.
subtitles.
It's so good. The lead character is the largest sumo wrestler in the world right now. His name is
Like most popular or just like
actual
the most
stature
massive?
wise.
Okay.
The most massive sumo
Gotcha.
wrestler, because he's like 6'9", like 400 and something pounds. Yeah,
That's
he's,
lot of-
he's like massive.
I mean,
It's a lot of meat.
yeah.
I follow him on Instagram. His name's like Hiroki Sumi or something like that. He's incredible, but he's the main character in the show, and he plays basically. Actually, I apologize. He's not the main character, but he's the protagonist.
Gotcha.
He's the biggest, baddest sumo wrestler, the villain of the show. It's basically about this like guy who doesn't want to do sumo, but he's like kind of this like kid who just doesn't give a crap about anything, and he's just like ruining his life, screwing over his dad, screwing over his mom. And then he starts doing sumo because he's really good at it, but he's just like not disciplined at all. So like basically the stable just like busts his ass and breaks him in, and then his goal is to go to the tournaments and win the tournaments and beat this giant guy. And it's so good. The story is just it's so good, and it shows you like what Japan thinks of sumo wrestlers, how they stand in Japan, and just really cool. A really great drama in my opinion. It's just it's so captivating, and I've been obsessed like just watching all the 15 days of sumo every single time they're on YouTube now. But they cut them after 2 months. This specific channel cuts them after 2 months.
Oh, okay. So you
have to wait until the
grab 'em
tournament.
and
Yeah,
keep 'em.
Watch them while you can, or rip them. You know, if you know Maya or Eric, then you can rip them. You can
Keep
have
it
them,
secret.
Yeah.
Keep it safe.
Yeah, you can have them rip it to a hard drive for you. You can have all your Yokozuna and Ozeki footage that you want.
So I bringing you back to the
Yeah, please.
Yokozuna.
We've been all over the place. I apologize. It's a little disheveled, but it's sumo is like so complicated, but not complicated at the exact same time.
Once you get to that certain status, the Yokozuna,
Yeah.
the top guy, or is it the Ozeki?
Ozeki is a more common
Do
position.
they get like a squire?
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
that's
so
what you're talking
yeah,
about. A
so
little
like
piss
they
boy?
basically so they'll have like a guy in the stable who's a lower rank than him, and he basically just like carries all of your stuff like at the tournaments.
You have to carry your diaper.
Yeah,
Sorry,
they will wrap your like they'll wrap your
mawashi?
mawashi. Like they'll have to like wrap it and they like do your laundry and stuff. I'm like, so it's like you're like
You know what? I'm out now. I don't like sumo wrestling. I don't
Yeah.
like. That sounds like a not fun job.
I know it's
Want to have that job of helping the
yeah because that just means you're one step closer to like one now you have it may not be the
You're
ear
one step closer to.
you're training with the
Yeah.
kind of.
Yeah, you have the ear of a higher guy. You look up to this guy. He's a great wrestler. It's what you want. You know, you want to be. So it's like you're just having that connection with the guy is probably feels really good. And I don't know the way in the show Sanctuary that they make it out. It's like you get your ass kicked like in the stable, like during practice. I mean, like you're nonstop like working crazy hard. And I'm sure they are. I mean, Japan once again is rife with tradition. So it's like they don't have any problem pulling any punches with anything. It seems like for
Right.
So they'll break you in if you have to if they believe you're capable of doing so. And I think that's I think we see that in everything. Why China? Why Japan? Why is everybody they're so incredible at whether it comes to professional video games or just really dedicate things that take major dedication and like focus. They always excel at. I mean, they've been like Korea's been king of StarCraft for 25 years. Like
Yes.
and they're not even
Korea, most known for being the king of StarCraft.
That's a fact, okay? And if you don't know that, we'll do a StarCraft episode, okay?
Yeah, there's definitely a stereotypical work ethic.
There is.
Yeah.
And it is a stereotype, but it's also like it's based in reality. They're incredible at a lot of things and they do an incredible job and we're, in America everybody's we're strong casual. We're just
I mean, you're on like a podcast with two ADHD dudes talking about a sport that they know basically nothing about. So
Right.
yeah, right.
Right. To the Americans, this is, what we get. And it's like, but I think you don't get to see this kind of stuff anywhere else.
Right.
Anywhere else. So it's
So there's no Hanba shows outside of Japan.
I don't believe so. I'm sure there is. I'm sure there's major tournaments around the world. I just don't know if they have
Gotcha.
the same pull of like the grand sumo over in Japan because they have an association. Like the Japan Sumo Association is who runs sumo wrestling within Japan, and I don't know if they associate with anything outside of that.
I guess one of
That would
the
be strange. I mean, it's like all the tradition around it. It's like
That's what I'm
baseball,
saying.
An American sport that
Right.
these people play, but
Yeah, it's like there's no tradition to baseball. It's like
peanuts.
hot dogs. I mean,
Cracker Jacks.
yeah. The famous Milwaukee racing sausages. It's like we don't. There's nothing
Gosh, I
tradition.
love those sausages.
That's a Milwaukee tradition. That's a tradition I can.
That's
get down
not a
with.
baseball tradition. That's a Milwaukee.
That is a Milwaukee
tradition,
and that's a solid tradition.
yeah.
I love that tradition.
Okay. I'm putting this on the internet because this has been a dream of mine for a long time. It is. I've wanted and thought deeply about how to do and the following consequences of sneaking in a giant bun costume to the Milwaukee Stadium and tackling one of those motherfuckers on their
Oh
race.
my god.
Just a big open bun
bunning
hug.
'em up?
Oh my god.
I feel like if it's inflatable and you can like
That was one of my options. Yeah.
Wait, you're saying you're not going to actually make a real giant 6'7"
Yes.
bun?
I'm going to work there for several months.
What a cop out.
Just to be able to bake a giant bun
that's what I'm
in
saying.
in the ovens.
get into.
Yes. No, I at some point in my life I was 100% okay with doing jail time for that.
Yeah, no, I mean, and you see
Not so much anymore,
You
but,
see,
you know.
you see those people. I mean, the one guy recently who just jumped the fence to go, you know, it wasn't even streaking, just run on the field, and then he's just gunned down by the by the security guards with stun guns, and you're just
Yeah,
like,
now try doing that in a bun costume.
try to stun these buns. That's what I would say. That's what
All right. So, yeah, back to sumo. Back to sumo.
Ignore the sausages. Ignore that. So, all the ranks that we see that you get to see wrestle on the YouTube are Yokozuna top rank, Ozeki, Sekawake, Komasube, and then Magashira. Now, the Magashira ranks are like it's kind of weird. They have 1 through 15 insular ranks within that rank.
Gotcha.
It's kind of annoying, but I think it's just also to create more depth within that those top divisions.
Right.
So it's like, because then you don't have to, the Juryo, the Makushita, the Sandaname, Jonadans, and the Jonakuchis, they're all just lower ranks. Those are the guys who will only wrestle 7 of those 15 days during the Basho. But those are all guys just trying to work up. And it's like, if they were showing us every single match that was actually going on during like the Basho, there would be no time. I don't know how long these actual events are. I would love to go to Japan and just sit in one day, because I'm assuming it's kind of an all-day thing.
On the YouTube channel that you're saying that's by this Japanese company, do they show the whole ceremony or just the
and that's
good stuff?
Yeah, just kind of the good stuff. You can find
Because I'd be interested in seeing the whole ceremony.
they have a lot of, when Grand Sumo is happening, they'll show like Grand Sumo highlights. They'll do a lot of like clips for like techniques. Now I'm not going to go through almost any of these techniques because there's just so many techniques. All the techniques are just leverage throws. It's all just throws stemming from almost any kind of sport that you throw with, whether it's judo or wrestling, all this stuff. All that stuff comes into play, but then they just have all Japanese names for them.
I'm like actually really glad that you're not gonna try and explain all of these techniques to me, because when you sent me this list, I was looking through all of these things, and the only thing I could think of is Tenacious D in The Pick of Destiny, the movie.
Yes.
There's a scene where there's 2 security guards, and there's this guy talking about this badass thing that he was doing, like when he got in a fight. And he's trying to explain how he was like punching this guy in a very specific way. And I was like, that's me trying to understand. Like, there's like 30 terms here for different moves. And like, this one's a push. And
Right,
this
like,
one's
yeah,
a stiff arm.
it's
but
so-
this one's where you twist.
It's a lot.
Yeah,
And-
this is a lot longer than I thought.
It's really,
and this one's when you grab from the inside.
Yeah, it's like it was
because
one,
that means something to me.
Like just for one example, like the Ami-uchi is forcing the opponent down to the ring by grabbing his arms, spreading the body out, and then pulling him down. So I mean, you can kind of get the concept of what that is, but it's like, yeah, they just have their own name for any specific, whether it's a slap down or a pull or a belt throw. A lot of it, obviously, like the initial blast is just like you're trying to get as much blast off the line as possible. Because it's also another part of the thing is like, yeah, there's a referee in each match, and he's called the Gyoji, and he's in the match, and he basically will like signal the start of the match. One guy will put his fists down, and that's what you see too, right? You'll see them put their fists down before a sumo match, and then the second person to put their fists down is when the match starts. So you kind of have your own like choices to, if you're the second person down, to just whenever the match starts.
So you mentioned the Gyoji, and then there's also the Shinpan as judges.
So the Shinpan, they are literally they don't come into play unless there is a questionable call.
Okay, so they're kind of like
a lot of the
tiebreakers,
right. So a lot of the times, like when they're working Mawashi grip, if they're both gripping up the belts and they're just trying to work leverage, and it's always working around the ring. Typically, somebody's trying to just. But a lot of the time, they'll both fall. So it's like the Shinpan is kind of like, if it's questionable, they will go back to actual replay and just check. There's 5 of those judges, and they all look over and come to a consensus on
they have like
who fell down first.
A full like instant replay.
They do.
Like, okay, because that was one of my questions. Was about like kind of the modernization of sports. And,
Exactly.
Like, how like like American football is probably what you and I are most familiar with because it's blasted everywhere. You have like 8,000 different angles on like a painted line in the grass, and then like 14 guys just arguing about, okay, did the ball touch first or whatever.
I know.
So I guess in this do they have something similar?
Right,
in
it's
Japan?
similar. I'd imagine it's not too many camera angles, because what we but it's got to be because they'll show when they show replays, they show like I think there's probably one on each side, each corner possibly of the actual doyo. There's one set far back that obviously looks over the whole thing. That's what you see from the shot. But there's got to be, because you always see like a wacky angle when somebody's like, which cheek slapped, the ground.
There's got to be a lot of like push and pull in terms of like the modernization of like, okay, we're getting all these new things in here to be able to judge this match. And then you have a bunch of, I'm assuming, traditional sumo people who are like, no, that's not how we've done it.
And that's got to be weird too. Yeah, those Shinpan have got to be like, they have lost a little bit of what they do just because instant replay is a thing. Like they almost have no other thing to do except judge, those things. And so it's like, well, when you just kind of go back to the replay, but it helps. I mean, that helps everything. For every sport, that helps everything. That's, because you can have a wrong call.
It's still kind of subjective.
It is.
Even with the angles and stuff, different camera angles. The only real way to understand without a shadow of a doubt is you have to, the ring has to be made out of copper.
Yes.
And then
yes, I like where this is going.
You electrify the sumo wrestlers so that when they touch the ground, it grounds it out and a light goes off.
Oh, yes. Yeah. It's like
and then
Operation.
they're electrocuted and die.
It's like Operation with sumo wrestling.
Exactly.
That rules.
Yeah, the and same thing with football. You know? And just make the whole field out of copper.
And some of the more exciting things that like happen during sumo wrestling, like I would love to be there to be ringside, right? So there's like a couple of judges. These guys are at the Shinpan are actual ringside. They're like on the front, I think. And so the noble like actual people sit there. But like, I mean, when you're watching up close, like you're next to the doyo. So anytime like somebody gets like actual thrown,
you're in the splash zone.
You're totally in the splash zone. You're 100% gonna get a komosubi sandwich right on your cheeks.
Yep.
Yeah, there's just a 350-pound man flying out of the doyo and just on top of a small woman sitting in the front row, and you're just like, is she dead? Did she die? And she just gets up and she's just like, yeah. And you're like, heck yeah. I'm like, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. They're just there. They're waiting to get smushed. I want to be there to get smushed.
I want to smush me, daddy. I mean,
if you're a high rank, smush me, daddy.
Do the wrestlers dispute anything very often, or?
Dude, and that's the thing too. So I've also seen, that's a great question, because I've seen those questionable calls that still don't get called the way they should have. One guy's thigh hit first, and I personally just saw it in the replay that this is the way it happened, and the other guy will win. And it's like there's nothing. Like you just see the guy, he's just like upset. He's just like, that's no good. And you're just like, yeah, I know. When I get it too, it's like you have another. You're not gonna face that guy probably unless I don't believe you'll face the same guy twice because there's so many dudes to wrestle off against.
Right.
But you have other chances to do it. You can show off against somebody else, and it's like I see all the time. Like I'll see Ozeki. Like a lot of the last tournaments, the Ozekis have gone down. The second-ranked dudes who are technically the higher-ranked dudes, they're going down to these komosubis or dudes who are the Magashira. Even so, Magashira 16 would be the highest rank Magashira. So he'd be ranking up to komosubi if he was at 16. 1 would be the lowest. So I mean, these guys they're rookies. They're out there to take blood. And if you're an Ozeki, if you're a komosubi, if you're any of these higher ranked guys, they have nothing to lose. You're just a name to them, and it's going to only be good for them in the end. So these Ozekis go down all the time. And it's like, once again, it's kind of just a rank, and it could have just been from your previous performances that you're there. It's just experience in the end. So, even people with experience by the end of their career can wash out. And it's like, it's not your fault. It's just everything has to come to an end. Like I said, the only Yokozuna right now, Teruno Fuji, has been out the last 2 tournaments for an injury. And he's lost I have his last tournament record right here. It's 0, for this May tournament, he was 0, 2, and 13. So, because he only had 2 matches, and they were both losses.
Gotcha.
13 draw. But and then there's 3 Ozeki right now, and they are 11-4, 10-5. But it's one of them, these Ozeki are 0, 2, and 13, 1, 6, and 8. It's like most of these guys are just getting beat up by these young dudes. Abi is a Sekawake, the rank above Komosubi. These other guys are just like ready for blood. This Onosato and this Abi guy have been crushing it all year. Wakamoto Haru. Some of these guys are just so fun to say. I just want to say their names nonstop.
So is there like maybe some sort of strategy, like once you get to the top, you can maintain your title a little bit longer if you like just don't show up?
Just don't show up, right?
Like because there's like what was it like 520 other guys like literally trying to get your position. Like they're all fighting for it and like dedicating their lives to taking you off your throne.
Right. Yeah, no, you're not wrong, because it's like, so...
I don't know how deep the strategy goes, but I mean, for a 2,000-year-old sport, I'm sure it's pretty fucking deep.
Well, I think it's with that, specifically this, it's like, if you're doing a lot of matches, if you're wrestling 15 out of 15 matches, every single tournament for a year, you already have...
Yeah, 6 times a year?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a lot.
You already have, 15 times 6? It's like... 3,000 matches. It's like a lot. It's like so many matches.
Absolutely no way to do that math. It's too high. Calculators don't go that far.
By June, you have 15,000 matches in you, and obviously you're gonna figure out a strategy versus a big guy versus a small guy versus and that's when those techniques come into play. When you have so many different techniques. Granted, there's a lot of names, and I'm a white American, and I'm gonna look like an idiot even pronouncing all of them, and I'm not going to. But they have all these options of techniques, and you can just master one of those techniques. And you see a lot of these guys that are doing well, they'll repeat techniques or watch another match, see a guy use a technique against a specific guy. Maybe he's a little taller, maybe he comes in super, super hot right off the go. It's like you can just, a lot of the time, somebody will come in super hot, and then you just step to the side and then just throw the guy down. And because he's 400 pounds, he just fell over, and then you threw him with his momentum.
Yeah, I see the dodging technique.
Yeah, a lot. Yeah, a lot. It's a great technique because it's like, and you want to put the most force in. And back to the only rules for sumo wrestling: no hair pulling, no closed fists, boxing or clubbing the ear. So basically, no hitting of the ear at all. You can't even slap the ear. You can't.
So
no choking.
You can slap anywhere else?
Yeah, slapping anywhere else except the crotch. You can't even go for the crotch. It says no grabbing the crotch or the mawashi near the crotch is what it is.
Oh, okay, yeah. So you
any
can grab the mawashi,
but the front groin.
So no frontsies, no backsies?
Yeah. No, you can totally wedgie him hard, but no front crotch wedgie hard.
Okay, so like where's
you
the
can
delineating?
You
like,
literally
does it stop at the
no? So literally literal mawashi around. So the one that goes under your crevasse and over your sumo junk. You can't grab like the front of that sumo junk. Anywhere that full wrap that goes around your waistband, you can grab any of that.
So like the DNZ is like the taint.
It's what the demilitarized zone on your own crevasse is, and don't touch it.
I'm just planning.
It's
a sumo
100%
match
just the
later,
front.
You
can grab basically, like I said, just the wrap. Any of the wrap that goes underneath your grundle.
So if you're able to grab from behind and then go up to the front,
so
that's fair game. If you just have
you can't grab the thong strap.
super long arms,
any waistband, no thong. That's all it is,
except for the back.
Right, but you still won't grab that back strap. If you're reaching around and grabbing the mawashi like this, what is your problem, Maya?
I don't know.
What is your problem,
That's why
man?
I'm here to ask these dumb questions.
Stay out of the hole,
I just
man.
want to know where you can touch the thong.
Grab all of the waistband thong. Any wedgie style is fine. You grab the back, because a lot of those bigger guys, when they're facing like a smaller dude, I mean, especially if they're stronger, they will just pick them up, wedgie them, and just big brother them out of the ring.
Like a freaking catapult. Just
and they'll just pick them up. They'll just walk them out. No, they're not catapulting. They're not trebucheting the guy out. They're just.
That's less cool than what I said. But
there is some, like when people get tossed, it's really exciting because a lot of crazy stuff does happen. Because a lot of people like slam their leg on the side of the dojo, like, and their leg is just caught up. Or the other day, like, the salt that they sprinkle in the middle of the dojo, I said, they have a bucket that they carry, like a wooden bucket that sits on the edge that has that salt in it. Mm-hmm. One guy got thrown off and just his head smoked the bucket, and he's just this giant gash over his head, and he just comes back into the ring. He's just like, I'm like, Jesus.
Guys, I didn't touch it.
He's like, did I lose? Did I lose, though? I'm like, yeah, you lost, man, but you did great. It's just like, there's so many exciting things that happen, and it's so exciting, and there's just, you don't have to, It's like 25 seconds that you have to sit there and deal with it. It's something great to put on in the background because there's a little bit of time between each match, and there's 15 days straight of it during a month, like when it's going on, and it's always exciting. But like I said, you got to watch it on NHK Sumo during those months because they like pull it following the next month for some reason.
Yeah, what I think is interesting is like professional athletes dedicated to like building up their body, but they're just getting big.
Oh yeah.
Like.
Oh yeah.
Not that they're not totally strong in addition, but
No, yeah, they like.
You can be fat and strong. I can attest to this.
yeah, no, I'm
As
not-
a very
I'm not
large,
judging,
weak
but-
man.
They and you'll find this out in because after I watched Sanctuary, that guy who played like Haruki in the show, he like started showing up in YouTube channels because he was like, I don't know if he's based. He came over to America to like work with some of the sumo clubs that were in America, and so he was like showing up on like random YouTube channels, and in the show they talk about it, and they went and ate it in when he was in America. There's a dish called chanko nabe, and it's basically a sumo soup. It is a Japanese stew. It's commonly eaten in vast quantities.
I just like sumo soup. That's
I
how,
know.
Like,
yeah. Chanko nabe is fun, but sumo
Yeah,
soup
you gotta
is
go
an
down
easy
to
way.
the stable to get
Yeah.
some sumo soup.
So this is like what sumo wrestlers live on. It's like their diet is just like a massive, massive bowl of chanko nabe at a restaurant or in the stable. I'm sure they make it too. But it's basically a chicken broth or a dashi broth just with everything in it, from veggies to sake to tofu to everything that you could put in
So
a
is
stew.
this something that like other people that are non-sumo wrestlers could theoretically eat, or is it kind of
course.
like a?
Of course, you can.
I wasn't sure if it was like a protected thing
No.
in some sort of way.
No, I don't
like
think so. It's
traditional. Like,
No, it's just like a super robust
Gotcha.
hot pot. You know, if you went
There
to
you go.
any hot pot
Okay.
place,
yeah, no, because it sounds like I would. I like
100% you
soups.
would enjoy it. Yeah, no, it's a Jeremiah-sized hot pot. Like it's like
There you go.
exactly what you want, and it's like not 100% of their diet, obviously, but it's like
I don't think I've ever had a hot pot.
I haven't had a hot pot either, actually. Only because when I go to hot pot,
You
I go
talk with
Korean
such
barbecue,
familiarity with it,
dude. Because we have two hot pot places near me, and but I choose to get the Korean barbecue
time
because
to
it's
go.
more exciting, and also it's hot as hell. So I just choose not to have hot pot right now.
I can't relate to this.
Or like Mongolian grills.
I just
choose not to go to them because I just don't want to get hot while I'm eating.
Soup is so good.
I know.
even during summer.
I do a chili because I'm looking for a diuretic.
You're a chilly bitch.
Some
Just a
chanko
chili-
nabe out,
a
okay? I'm
chili
looking for some
slut.
chili. Yeah. So chanko nabe is what sumo wrestlers love to eat. Apparently, it's like. It's not their entire diet, but it's literally when they talk about food and what they eat, it's chanko nabe because you can just eat a massive amount in one sitting,
Right.
and a lot of the time it's like I'm assuming it's like endless over there if you wanted it to be, but in the show Sanctuary they like make it a thing, and I'm like I could get down with some of that chanko nabe, but it's always steaming, and like I said, I don't like to get hot. I'll be shirtless. I could eat it.
Well, you're in a steaming room. When
If
you're
I was
eating
in a
it.
steam room
Yeah,
fighting
'cause
E Honda,
as we've discussed
eating
earlier,
chanko
if you're
nabe.
not on the clay pit, you are in a steam room,
This is
and
the truth.
that's where you eat your food.
That is a
That's
fact.
where you do your taxes.
Yeah.
That's where
That's where they do it all.
Shirtless paperwork.
shirtless paperwork.
Yeah.
When you have your little piss boy do your thong.
Dude, that's true. I don't think the proper term is piss boy. Now, don't correct me.
I feel maybe that you're right there.
Yeah, I'm probably right. I think I'm right. I think I'm pretty right on that one.
I
but-
just am maybe projecting.
yeah. I think you're that would be an Americanized version of
Yeah.
what they have. It would be a piss boy, and that's the guy who empties out your what do they call it?
Your piss.
Chamber pot.
Oh.
You know, that's what they call
Oh, I had it all wrong.
it. Yeah. Yeah. You did have it all wrong.
Yeah, the piss boy, the guy who drinks your piss.
No, my piss boy empties my chamber pot. And if you don't know what a chamber pot is, that's just an old school a pot for pooping. They called it a chamber pot. Get with the times. Come on.
You still use a chamber pot?
Why not?
You still use a chamber pot?
game
I still use a piss
often.
boy.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I game often. As a gamer, a chamber pot is...
Oh god.
You keep with tradition.
Yes.
Keep with tradition.
Sorry, I love tradition. It's insane. I mean, you're not just gonna go poo in a toilet like some swine who stole America and brought over their ceramic bowls of serenity. I don't need that.
Or you could be like the Germans and just poop on a little platter. Or is that I can't. Maybe.
Those are fascists did that.
Yeah, no, it's some European country. I want to say it's Germany where they just like poop on a platter and then like I don't know, look at it and then
I think that's where the poo poo platter thing came from.
Yeah, the poo poo platter.
What did the poo poo platter? Yeah, I think that's a thing. But
so the Champo Navis,
Chanko,
the Choco Tacos. Tell me more.
So some wrestlers love Choco Tacos.
Yeah,
and
rest in power.
I love Choco. Actually, no, I don't really like Choco Tacos. I had one.
They don't make them ananymore.
They don't.
So I've heard.
Yeah, rest in power.
I think you could create one pretty easily.
No, it's impossible.
I could 3D print one tonight. Don't test me.
3D printers famous for making food.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Let's get Choco Tacos and Chanko Nabe and start practicing sumo wrestling tonight. We need to go find where do you guys think, knowing our state, where do you think we can go get the darkest, most solid clay? The thickest clay?
Literally anywhere in
like out back.
Here.
Yeah.
Like in our
How
backyard.
far do we have to go down?
Not very.
Not very?
We have pretty clayful soil here.
Do we?
Yeah.
Good. Okay, we're in luck.
Yeah. Go north about an hour and then it's all sand. And
Yeah.
then I think a lot south of us is still pretty
clay
rich. Yeah.
Okay, this can totally be a thing.
I don't know like quality of clay. Like, it's got to depend on like the area.
That's
and
true.
like what you're looking for in the clay, because I'm sure like
I look for gray.
like if you're looking to make a pit out of clay, I'm guessing that you don't have to be quite as picky as if you're trying to make a pot out of it.
I'm trying to make a
I'm
giant doyo block.
Yeah. So just dig up your whole backyard.
If we brought it to America like that, we would make a red clay doyo because that's what we would do.
Right. Yeah.
Look, it's not a
or
red
we would
clay.
just, I don't know. America's not really good at
We just ruin everything.
Yeah, the tradition.
Yeah,
it would just be like, here's a trampoline, do it.
Yeah. It would probably be something, related to like Mormonism.
Because clay is like pretty heavy.
It's super
There's
heavy.
like a lot of it there.
Yeah,
and
this
it just seems like a lot of work. Like, I gotta
I know.
quit.
I need to look into more who makes the whole doyo, because it seems like a lot of work just to put the clay thing together. But I mean, literally, that's sumo wrestling. That's as simple as it is. There's a lot of tradition that we don't know because it's all in Japanese, and I'm an idiot. But otherwise,
There's no way to translate Japanese.
yeah. I tried for the last 13 years, and it didn't work out.
Yeah, NHK makes some like apps for Apple and Android, and you can watch a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There's the app is called Grand Sumo, and the one thing I'll say about the NHK specifically. So if you want just sumo content, download the Grand Sumo app. NHK World Japan covers everything Japan, everything. So, like if you subscribe to their channel, you're gonna get Japanese news every single day of your life.
There you go.
They have a lot of cool English. English.
They do.
Stuff too.
They do. A lot of their stuff is converted into English. That's why that channel is cool. So if you wanted to know anything about Japan, that channel is for you. Otherwise, you can just wait. July will be the next tournament. The next Basho coming up is in July. Days 1 through 15. They just do it the first 15 days of every month.
I'm probably going to check it out. I'm interested now.
It's really exciting. Like I said, it's like 22-minute videos. They just cover 15 straight matches. And watching them 15 consecutive days is cool because you instantly get to know the guys. Because you're seeing them 15 times in a row.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's really cool to see these guys. And, Ono Sato is the guy who won this last May tournament. He has his hair down. Eventually, we're going to see him with his top knot. And then,
if he wins this one, he'll get his top knot. And he'll be like the
If he became a Yokozuna, and like I said,
Yokozuna.
I don't know how that works. If he can go straight from Komosubi to Yokozuna by winning the 2 major tournaments in a row, I'm pretty sure he can. But it's usually like a 1 in 1,000 thing for Yokozuna.
Yeah,
so
I mean,
hopefully,
it's
a long shot.
Does it seem like he got lucky?
I don't
in,
think
like,
so.
the
He went 12 and
matchups?
3. No, because
Or is he just like a prodigy kind of
he's
like
really
that's
good.
coming up through
He
the ranks?
seems really good, and he's. That's the thing too. Is like his 3 losses are against. They're not against like super top ranked guys. I'm sure they're just like off matches. Everybody has their type of guy they can wrestle well against. They can,
someone that like has a strategy that pairs particularly well against his.
Exactly. Matchups are everything. So it's like, and your matchup will change every single day for the match. So I watched him 2 months ago and he almost won. And I actually watched, who was the guy? There was one like 3 months ago, the tournament 3 months ago, actually who was it? I think he was a Magashira, and he went Takaro Fuji. Takaro Fuji pulled out of this last tournament. There's Teruno Fuji is that Yokozuna. Takaro Fuji is a different guy. He's a Magashira 6. And he actually went undefeated 2 tournaments ago as a Magashira and beat everybody in the tournament, and that hadn't happened in like 50 years, they said.
Oh.
So it was like really impressive that he came out of kind of nowhere, and he was very stoic. He looks very stoic. But I think he went 15-0 for one of the tournaments, and it was quite mind-blowing. But granted, he went 0-15 because he pulled it out of this last tournament. But it's just, you get to see, there's really cool storylines because of those 15 days. I just love the layout of the tournament. I think it's such a cool way to do it.
Do they get cool like wrestler storylines?
Yeah, it's kind of like, and they'll do, say a low ranked guy will beat a better guy. They'll do a little backstage interview with him and just talk to him, and everything's very quick to the point. Just nobody's mean to anybody. Everything, thank God, because I love MMA, but I still hate people who are just like pieces of shit. So I appreciate a guy who's just showing up there just to kick your ass and then say nothing and leave. And you're like, yeah, you said everything that you need to say with just your performance in the ring, and I think that's how it should be. Personally, for me, that's how I like it. But
you like your ass kicked silently.
I like getting my ass kicked silently. I look at them, they shake my hand, I give them $50. We walk.
Do it again.
And then we continue with our Tuesdays.
and then we go to day 2 of the tournament, and I'm going to see you tomorrow.
Then I clock out of my lunch.
Right. But no, I appreciate you sitting in with me to listen to some sumo wrestling ramblings.
Yeah, that was fun.
I hope that anybody gets interested, because I really think it's a super, super cool sport that is not appreciated like it should be in America. And I think everybody should check it out. And check out Sanctuary on Netflix. And until next time, this is the Strong Casuals. Thanks again.